Hey guys, Tyler2K here. Today we're going to talk about my V105, V106 tier list. A couple of quick things. I did make a tier list already over a month ago that was available for members only. And the reason being I wanted to see how the meta kind of shook out before I made a real public list. Because every single time you make a tier list, unless you're like completely dead set on where people stand, your opinion changes. So I didn't want to do that until I knew for a fact. I did have notes in my tier list over the course of basically a few weeks. I had a note the next day while I had overnight to stew on it, and then 2 weeks later I had my final revision on it. Beyond that, I'll go ahead and post that on the screen to kind of show you that this is not external factors that have determined this. This is just my opinion on the tier list. Of course, these are opinions, so you might not agree with me. What we'll do at the very end, I will modify my current tier list. I will then place Lidia. So I'm pretty sure I know where I'm going to put Lidia already, but maybe in the course of me shaking up my list, after I move here and there, I'll be like, okay, you know what? Maybe Lidia should be a little higher, a little bit lower than there. We'll get to all that. So please watch the video before posting down like, why is blah 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 on this tier. Jump to your character's part, jump to the very end, and then blast me for saying Lee is actually a good character or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, always I'm down to discuss. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to leave the tiers as they are. First things first, I'm gonna leave it like this. I'm probably gonna branch it into 3 groups again: top 10, bottom 10, and then viable or something like that. So we'll do this. If you haven't seen my other tier list before, check it out on my channel. But this is usually what I do. I don't have a immediate game plan sort of thing. And like I said, I'm going to do this like Season 2 style, even though that video got deleted on my Twitch channel. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and quickly compare them. So basically the idea is we're going to compare Paul versus Nina. Nina shown herself to be tournament viable. Paul, the only player at high levels who seems to play Paul is Justice. Justice did really well at ATL before the buffs. Paul is a lot stronger nowadays, but at the same time, despite his buffs, we have still not seen him in a really high-level tournament capacity since the buffs. He is worse than Nina, so I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to do like essentially like a bubble sort here. Okay, Xiaoyu versus Nina. Xiaoyu did get some significant buffs in V103, V104. Xiaoyu is still very, very good, but not as good as Nina. Okay, same thing here. I would imagine, oh man, it's probably really close. I think for what we've seen thus far for viability, again, in tournaments, it appears that Xiaoyu is more viable than Paul, so I'm going to throw it down the list. Okay, Leroy. Leroy got really good buffs in V105, but still, he's not quite playing T8 like the other characters are. He definitely doesn't play it as well as Nina. Does he play it as well as Xiaoyu? This is pretty close. I'm inclined to believe they're about the same. And normally I wouldn't do this as like a normally ranked list. For now, this will be ordered. Keep in mind, once you get at the end, this will not be ordered. So I think, yeah, he's probably equally viable with Xiaoyu. I'm sure certain matchups are better. Certain matchups are better, blah, blah, blah. The only problem I have with Leroy right now is just his range. He has the same problems he's always had. He has no good range, like 1.5, 2 tool. Everything he has at long range is either really bad frames or it's launch punishable. So you get into a point where if you play against someone who's very good and they know how to space you out, there's not much you can do. And that's a huge detriment to Leroy. Okay, Lili got significant nerfs. Definitely worse than Nina nowadays. Man, she's probably better. I would say her movement is still superior. She does a lot of damage. That's the thing I don't think people understand with Lili is her damage output is absolutely insane. For the most part, she has pretty much everything you'd want in a toolkit. Long range 12, a decent 14 nowadays. Her back turn game is safer. Her 10 frame is still really good. I mean, there were a couple of really key nerfs, like, similar to other slide characters like Shaheen and Lee, where she lost her infinite reset, like, force 50-50, when you consider the fact that her feisty rabbit low is like -12 and her feisty rabbit mid is safe on block. It's crazy her 50-50 is still insanely overtuned. So even if you guess correctly, you don't really punish her much because -12 off of S, off of Crouch, is highly, highly devalued. So with that being said, she probably still is more tournament viable than Xiaoyu and Leroy. The nerfs were huge, but that just kind of goes to show you how overtuned she probably was. So pre-patch, she probably was up here, maybe even higher than Nina. But for now, I think in between is okay. I haven't really played against any really good Juns lately. I don't know if I'm just getting better against Jun, but even after the nerfs, I don't have very much problem with Jun. Now, when this game first came out, because of how, not different, but how many mix-ups she had compared to her old Tekken Tag 2 iteration, I didn't really... yeah, it's like kind of you get used to the changes, and they're sure annoying, but at the same time, not super strong. Not as much as I had initially thought. With that being said, she probably is still a phantomly strong, good character, or people just don't play her. The buffs to her health regeneration, such that she doesn't do 1 million damage to herself, is really tremendous. I think we're still waiting for that breakout Jun performance. With that being said, she's nowhere as strong as Nina. She might be with Xiaoyu. Yeah. God, I wish I want to put her higher. Like, in my heart of hearts, I know she's very strong. I just haven't seen it yet. And like I said, it doesn't matter. Now, granted, I haven't played against any God Juns in a while, but I played against an Emp and a TG? I don't think I played against a TGS/God in a while, Jun, but it's like, man, the fear of playing against her kind of doesn't exist anymore, but at the same time, maybe it's because I was playing with Dragunov, that kind of has to go partially in it. So, you know what? She hasn't shown herself. This isn't C tier. I'm going to drop her down a tier. And actually, we can start by just moving everyone up. That way people don't misinterpret what I mean right away. Because I don't think Paul is nearly as bad as people still think he is. Sorry. Okay, Asuka. I think Asuka is really strong. She's not S. I don't think she's top. I don't think she's still as good as Nina here, but I think probably on par with Lili. She shits damage. There were significant nerfs to her. If anything, what I'll probably do, I'll probably put her in between. I think Asuka's more viable than Leroy. She might be close. Man, it's really close. They're really close. You know what? I'm gonna put them all together. I think that's more accurate. Before I start splintering it, I think this is right about on target. Let me put Xiaoyu a little bit ahead of Leroy. Jun is probably ahead of Xiaoyu. I'm just temporarily ordering it. Asuka is probably more viable than Leroy, but probably not nearly as strong as Xiaoyu. It's close. I think, again, Asuka, character who shits out damage, she has certain mechanics that other characters don't have. I think having the value of a heat burst or heat smash system that causes strong floor break is more valuable than one that causes strong wall break, in my experience. Just the fact that you can get a launcher without having to worry about the wall positioning is like really huge. Of course, there's not a lot of stages with strong ground break, but the more stages eventually get added to the game, I think the more valuable a strong floor break is going to become in the long run. Again, it's super annoying when you're not expecting it. You get hit because, still, despite the fact heat smashes have been nerfed, they still phantom hit a lot. It's very frustrating. Hey, that's T8. What can you do? So I think, yeah, probably about centered here. Okay, so Hwoarang did get significant nerfs in 105. With that being said, I think Hwoarang is still a perfectly applicable character. The fact that, he lost down 3-4 is a good thing because, yeah, for far too long, Hwoarang players have been getting away with murder by going for low-high series that, for some reason, can be beat. Or you can't beat it, right, unless you would play a character like Dragunov or a character like Bryan with wall stand 1+2 and wall stand 3, respectively. The fact you can make your pressure safe, and then if you also combine the fact that power crushes are safer in this game, period, such that, let's say, you're playing V104 pre V105, right? You do down 3-4 series, you do whatever RFS or LFS back 3, you do the power crush or back 4. You know what I'm trying to say here. So if you do like a wall stand 14, your wall stand 14 hits Hwoarang, but you don't launch Hwoarang, right? And then on top of that, you can't option select it. If you challenge him and you challenge him too slow, again, you can't punish the back 4 or whatever at -12, -13. You can't, because all of a sudden it goes from -12 to -7 with pushback. Like, oh, okay. And then again, factoring the fact, like, power crushes tend to churn you around in this game, or they really did it previously. They don't do it nearly as much anymore, thank God. But yeah, the Hwoarang got away with murder for way too long. Down 4-3-4 the wrong direction, back 4 the wrong direction. You can argue it's a homing attack, but no, it's silly. It's like really, really silly that power crush used to churn you around like that. So he needed the nerfs. Did he need it to be consistently a -15 or minus, I think, 17 technically now? Probably not, but it should have started with at least being 15. And like I said, for far too long, he's been getting away with murder, and he needed those nerfs. Thank God, because in this game, things like, RFS forward 4, heat launcher, down back 4, counter hit, RFS forward 4, NCC full launcher, 2-3 or 2-4 full launcher. I mean, does he need a hit confirmable plus frame I-10 traps that lead to another mix-up, right? If you don't go for the full forward 4 series, do certain characters trounce him? Yes. Do most of the characters? No. So by definition, right, he's better than most of the cast. So they needed to nerf it. This is what I'm trying to say. And I still think he's perfectly viable. I think he still shits out damage. He still has one of the better heat smashes in the game. He has some of the best heat moves in the game with both the, I don't really want to call it a hell sweep, but let's call it a heat enhanced hell sweep. Down 4-3 option is a really nice addition to his toolkit. He still has LFS forward down 4-3 +1 option launcher. He got away with a lot of things like that. A ton of quality of life buffs. You can probably argue he's in between A and B. I still think Hwoarang is still a scarier character than Xiaoyu, who really needs heat to kind of pop off. So on and so forth. Did he get nerfed? Yes. Is he still perfectly viable? Yeah, he'll go in the viable tab. He won't be in my top 10, but still. I still think here it looks to be pretty accurate. Okay, Alisa has been very, very strong for a very, very long time. The only problem with Alisa in previous games is that whenever you compare a really strong character to a god, she's not a god, right? So, okay, was she as good as pre-nerf Marduk? No. Okay, as good as pre-nerf Fakablam? No. Okay, pre-nerf Leroy? No. But like over the years, all those characters got nerfed. Not Marduk, not so much, of course. All those characters got nerfed into the ground. And Lisa has always been there, just standing in the corner, quietly chilling in top tier, no one noticing. One of the most frustrating things, like very, very overtuned. And the problem was everyone else was so much stronger than her that she just got through without any sort of nerf. And if anything, over the years, she has gotten decently good buffs to her toolkit. And yeah, I mean, okay, she lost 1-1 from back in T6. Okay, but she's gained a million things in its place. She has easily one of the best high homing attacks in the game. That kind of transition. Forward 2-1 is absurdly strong for -10 with a significant pushback. Forward 2-1 also is a heat engage or heat dash combo that is a full launcher, and still it's only -10, so you can still kind of go for a hit confirm. And whereas a character like Hwoarang or Jin have to commit on their I-14s, and like for instance Hwoarang's I-14 heat dash cancel doesn't launch. Jin's launches, but he is his -14, both of them are -14, right? Again, you can situation confirm a character like Alisa forward 2-1, and you're only -10 in that situation. Yeah, like her whole toolkit again did get nerfed, but also had been significantly changed to make her into a converted T8 character. Even a thing like what is it here? God, I'm drawing a blank. I had it in my head, and this is off the dome, of course. I don't have anything written or notes written here. But man, what am I thinking of? You know what I'll say? I'll say a lot of her really punishable kit has kind of gone the way of the dinosaur. They've all been replaced or transitioned into not just follow-up, but pressure lines and safer options. Again, safer confirming things with her. The addition of a hell sweep is crazy to her kit, especially because that hell sweep is a double attack for Alisa, right? And it's, of course, launch punishable because it's a hell sweep. But the problem is her hell sweep doesn't stagger on block. So not only do you have to duck the hell sweep, you then also have to block the mid because it's a non-jailing string. So you have to block the mid to launch her. So you might think to yourself, okay, well, that's annoying, but that's not that bad, right, Tyler? The problem is she doesn't have to do the mid. So, like, she can technically just do the low, non-stagger, and because you're waiting for the mid, she kind of gets away with murder. A lot of things, similar thing, access, the emergency boot, the new heat mode enhanced edition, is not nearly as strong as other Pete characters' kits, but the fact that she can go into dual boot now instantly, the fact that she does have access to unblockable, does have access to a hell sweep, does have access to this and that, and also the dual boot or emergency boot entrance doesn't cost her the entirety of her meter, right? So you can still kind of do it. I don't know what the meta is with it, but theoretically, you can still like exploit the fact that you have meter after the fact. It very, very crazy. Now, is Alisa stronger than Nina? I can't say. I honestly can't say. I think Alisa is in the conversation for top 10, maybe top 5. I don't know about that. But yeah, again, she has been in the background hiding for all this time, slowly getting buffs, getting negligible nerfs for the most part, and going along with her day, and now this is where we're at. I compare her very much to Tekken 7 Jin. Ever since T5, Jin got a revamp kit in T5, although T4 was technically the first game where Jin was like brand new. So they changed his kit in T5. He wasn't super strong. And then, not super strong. There's other characters like T5 Heihachi, top 3. T5 Double Jin, top 3 character, blah, 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 right? But ever since T5, Tekken 6, okay, he got some buffs. Tekken Tag 2, okay, he got some new buffs. It takes a lot of skill to play him forward transition, blah, blah, blah. Okay, he got some buffs. Really, no nerfs. Tekken 7 comes along. They buff him. Season 1, they buff him. Season 2, they buff him. Season 3, they buff him. And now all of a sudden he's like the strongest character in the game. And that's what happens. That's the same thing with Alisa. You can't buff a character forever and never nerf them and then like be surprised what happens. Like, right? Is Alisa as strong as Season 3 Jin? Absolutely fucking not. Still, the point remains, she's been dodging nerfs for so long, I can't even fathom it. Like, her toolkit is so complete. Man, it's so good. And in a game without, like, a nerf Magic 4 hurts, sure, but still, she kind of got a good fucking deal with the rest of her kit. Now that, Destroy's even stronger, too. So, yeah, again, easily top 10 material. And what I'll do is, like I talked about earlier. Okay, let's add her first bracket. So top 10. These are the characters who are, I would say, top 10 in the game. I'm probably gonna have more than 10 people. Again, fair warning. Okay, I've been talking too long because I went into a Jin rant. So let's go ahead. Claudio. Claudio is very good. Is Claudio as good as Nina? Maybe. Yeah, Claudio got some significant buffs, and his toolkit is still pretty good. Yeah, he's definitely better than... Man, it's crazy, like, by this alone, like, I can already see there's a huge fucking scariness gap in these characters. Like, like, right now, this is more accurate. Like, this shit. Like, it should look like this. Like, there's a huge gap between these, which should really go to show you, like, how much Hwoarang and Lili got nerfed. Claudio, yeah, he probably is an argument for top 10. Is he as strong as Nina? It's hard to say. Is he as strong as Alisa? Yeah, he probably is a little bit stronger than Alisa. I mean, there's not much that you can't like with the character. On his hop kick with the new Dynamic 1+2 structures, yeah, he's shitting out damage now. I think even without a wall, he's doing high 60s, low 70s, add in a wall, and then all of a sudden he does 1 billion damage, right, with this new consistent combo structures now, and the fact that you can pop heat, get access to starburst instantly, and then do a super easy, consistent back forward 3-2 for a lot of unskilled damage, then have Oki and this and that. Yeah, he's a scary character, very scary. There are major problems in this game, but still, I think for the most part, he plays T8 decently well. I don't know. Well, we'll get to it. I think at this point, I don't think, yeah, he's, I think, significantly better than the rest of the cast here. And again, I hate to put Paul here, man. You know what? Fuck it. I'm putting Paul up. That doesn't look right. Like, I know it doesn't count yet because we're not even halfway through the list, but that still looks wrong. Okay, Raven. Is he as good as them? No. No, he's not. I personally put Raven decently high. I think Raven is a really good mix of complete party character and strength of Tekken 8. There are only a few matchups that are very risky for Raven to deal with, e.g. Bryan, but Bryan is currently out of meta, so it's not really that bad a deal to be picking a character like Raven in this current character selection meta here, right? So the lack of elbows and knees and quick options, I-14s, right? The only character with like significantly good I-14 here would be Alisa, and then yeah, we're not going to count Nina's I-14 specifically, but yeah, like, okay, so he out of this current meta, he currently doesn't have any sort of predators currently hunting him down. I think, again, with the buffs are a step in the right direction. I believe what Raven probably still needs is just hitbox fixes, and they meaning Namco, need to fix his certain cross-up, sidestep, back-turn auto interactions where things tend to miss. Kind of similar to what I used to say with Dragunov and Tekken 7. The only buff Dragunov needs is a buff to his consistency. If you gave Raven consistency, if you fixed his hitbox problems, you fixed this, you fixed that, no buffs needed, he's easily top 10 in the game. Easily top 10 in the game. He plays Tekken 7 or Tekken 8 really, really well. But at this current junction, again, we need someone to step up and truly represent him. I'll go ahead, one more little non sequitur here, kind of. In Tekken Tag 2, arguably one of the worst characters of the game, but at the same time, I used to theorize that Raven, when played to the absolute maximum, played by a robot, would probably be one of the best characters in the game. And I don't mean robot in the sense of cheating and whatnot and, reacting to unreactable things. But the fact that, everything was a 5 launcher, he had tricks to escape. If you could, as a human, react to situations that you put yourself into BT and these weird esoteric kind of, bugs and whatnot, if you can, mitigate these possibilities, same thing. All of a sudden he becomes top 10 material, and he becomes a really good god. So it's hard to say A right away. I probably realistically would probably put him here because, again, there's such a grand separation between the top 10 and everyone else's game. But I think he's right about here. He's hovering here, so for the sake of people blowing me up, I'll just go ahead and put him high mid, let's say, and then once we're done with the first wave, we'll go ahead and do one or two more waves, just to do things quicker here. Okay, King. Yeah, I mean, what's not to like about King, right? The loss of his counter hit game, back one was huge, but at the same time, every character lost their magic force, and now he has to commit. The only kind of issue with his magic 4 is the fact that I think off of counter hit, back 1-2 causes instant tailspin, so the damage potential off back 1-2 is heavily reduced, but at the same time, that's 12 frame and a high, and he has down 4-2 on 13 frames, and that's a mid counter hit confirmable option. Even little cheeky things like down 4-1 being -1 still, having a pretty good hitbox. Of course, there are certain matchups that, tend to blow up King. Okay, sure, he actually is a Tekken character after all, not like the God characters. So, okay, yeah, sure. But against most of the cast, he just blows them up, right? Is he as strong as Nina? Probably not. Is he as strong as Claudio? Probably not. Is he as strong as Alisa? Probably not. But I'm perfectly comfortable putting him in the contention for top 10. So, you know what we'll do? We'll say above, and of course, we'll change this. So above is top 10, and we'll call this for now the top. Okay. So top 10. He's in easily contention for top 10. I don't think anyone would fucking ever argue with how strong King is. Now, asterisk. The problem, of course, with King is now that the V105 nerf to the auto tracking throws is a huge detriment to King. Because, one of the strengths of King was that, a couple of throws look very similar, and unless the King player has like a really nasty input buffer, in the sense like you can really tell the pumping of the animation, stuff like that, it's harder to properly react and or predict because the throw animations can look very similar to one another. There are clear outliers, GS2, the twister, is clearly with his right hand, but the fact that you can buffer instant GS off of running, it look like Shining Wizard, same hands, blah, blah, blah. Okay, big problem, especially when you further factor in the fact that he had blue spark throws, which I talked about. I'll give a shout out top right corner for the future nerf predictions. So yeah, he has blue spark throws that are very hard to beat. So when you combine that with the fact that you can't sidestep these throws, it means it's a huge pain in the ass to beat them. Now that the throws have nerfed, or tracking's been nerfed, that's of course a big detriment to the King's game. But with that being said, the rest of his kit is still really, really solid. The only thing that he's of course missing is a low, because his throws are his lows. They are to supplement his game. But if you were to give him like a really particularly scary low, and of course 4/4 neutral 2 was that for the most part -13, and it previously was +7 on hit. Now it's -13, but I think +5, and maybe it was even +8. So yeah, now they nerfed his very, very scary low, so that means you have to rely on the throws, and now you can step the throws. Okay, well then he's a little bit in trouble there, of course, but still, don't sleep on him. He's a character who can easily blow you up, a character who can get lucky with chain throws and steal around, and in a high pressure situation, having access to a safe forward 3, knockdown 50-50, you counter confirmable down 4-2s, having a really scary low option, then those bufferable I-10 invisible throws are very, very nasty to deal with. So easily, I think for sure top 10 contention. Yeah, I think he clears Lili and Hwoarang, Raven pretty easily. So, okay, Shaheen. Is he as strong as Nina? Probably not. Is he as strong as Claudio? Probably not. Is he strong as Lisa? No, probably not. Okay, so they got rid of one of the scariest parts of his game, as mentioned. So slide into Sneak 2 no longer causes the steel pedal effect, such that you can basically put them into a blender. What was particularly nasty about the blender was that it's part of the kit, right? The 2 with steel pedal effect, and then if they quick stand and you read it, you can always do the charge 2 option, guard break them, and now if you would use that information with the modern VO105 buffs where it's +20, and then you're constantly put into a blender, it's like you can't play on the floor, you can't stand up, so what do you do, right? You just kind of instantly lose. So the major problem with Shaheen is that quite a few of his options really are significantly punishable. Even things where he has to take some risk to get something going, even just kind of simple neutral fishing can lead to your detriment. The really strong part, though, is that he has a killer hop kick range, he has a decently good down forward 2, and he has a couple new neutral tools to help him out for mid-presence game. Also, the fact that running 2 now consistently has like a significantly better hitbox on it is really, really good, because in Tekken 7, his running 2 was complete dog shit. Did it wall bounce launch? Sure. Good luck ever hitting anyone who's okay at the game, because like it has 0 hitbox. They just like micro step, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just die now because my move missed, right? I would say, yeah, better than Raven, better than Lili. Again, I'm now noticing even more disparity between these. Like, again, this is another, the top 10 I think still has like a big buffer between them. So again, don't misconstrue this. These aren't bottom tier. I definitely would never put fucking Xiaoyu in bottom tier, Asuka in bottom tier, at least in this game. Still. Okay, Jin. What's to say about Jin that hasn't been talked about? I don't know. The end of the world sort of stuff here. Jin's insanely strong. Like, absurdly strong. Even post-nerf, he's still a super strong character. He basically has everything you would ever want. Fast homing game, fast knockdown game, fast launching game with heat mode. The fact that it took him this long to nerf Demon Paw, and nerf, with like big fucking air quotes here, nerf his heat smash and he still like easily one of the strongest characters in the game. It's like really, really crazy. I think part of it does have to stem, again, talking about what we talked about earlier, really has to stem with the fact that what characters have a wall stand 14, what characters have a standing 14, right? If this character is allowed to party and your character doesn't have any real means to max punish him, you really can't stop them from just executing on their game. Okay, so I'm sure some beginner out there is thinking to himself, oh, okay, well, if you read it down too, just hop kick. Yeah, sure, if you're playing a fucking moron. Okay, yeah. So, again, you're forced to play constantly on Jin's terms there, and now that the parries have been buffed, right, in V105, he's now scarier to approach because his parry now is effectively better against certain things, too. He still has easily one of the best side sways in the game with up forward 2, which is completely safe on block, I believe, -7, causing knockdown. He still has the full knockdown kit. He now has access to nastier CDS Zen options. Zen up forward 1, which did get nerfed, air quotes again, but still good luck max punishing it if you're not fucking 100% reading it. Zen 4, which is now the dive kick that you basically can't sidestep unless you're already sidestepping to the right early against it. Massive fucking hitbox. And then on top of that, they're like, you know what would be cool for Jin? Let's go ahead and give Jin an Omen stance. Oh, and you know what we should do? We should have Omen stance hit you on the ground. Yeah, that sounds like fun. What the fuck were they thinking? Okay, at least with a character like Kazuya, where the motherfucker does like a heat burst, like he like does a flex and it hits like it's a fucking explosion. It makes sense. Jin just like flexes on you and it hits you in the ground, and if you don't know what you're doing, you're fucked. Like, good luck, right? Good luck. And then, of course, on top of it, and this isn't necessarily just here calling out Jin, though, but the fact that you can have no meter for your heat and then hit the 5 and then still do a full heat smash option. And, of course, Jin still has easily one of the best ones in the game because he has 2 of them. One causing plus 22 heat smash, and then that one also is a launcher if you exist in the same planet as the wall there. And then on top of that, okay, open field too far for heat smash 4. Okay, cool. Well, now I'm going to be plus 6 or whatever entrance into crouch dash. Cool. So yeah, good luck with that, kid. Again, what has not been talked about, Jin, that we can't talk about? The bubonic plague, complete dogshit designed character. I still don't understand it. Again, the fact that it took this long to nerf Jin is just mind-boggling. I'm flashes of fucking season 3 Tekken 7 over here again. You can make a character that isn't good at everything, Namco. Please. Just think about it. Like, come on, man. Does he need everything? Jack of all trades, but he's also the best at like almost every single thing in the game. And he's nerfed. Like, it's just like it's right on the cusp. Right on the cusp of DLC brokenness all over again. You know what? Fuck it. I'm not complaining anymore. It's just absurdly strong. On the other hand, we have Devil Jin. Devil Jin, the mid-game nerf was probably the biggest detriment to him. Losing Demon Paw, where he got hit the hardest, and a character like Jin got hit decently hard, but Jin also has a rest of the kit to kind of complement it. Devil Jin, not so much. I don't purport to be a Devil Jin master. I haven't really put much time into Devil Jin ever since Tekken Tag 2, to be fully frank. But still, back in the day, like back when Tekken 8 came out, Devil Jin, easily one of the scariest characters to fight up against. But over time, not just figuring out the character, but with the nerfs, it has come to the point where it's like, you know what, I don't really mind Devil Jin, right? He's not that scary, okay. If I make a mistake, I die, but at the same time, certain mistakes are so like heavily in your favor because of Devil Jin's damage. Now granted, under certain situations, like correct situations, the character shits out damage. But for the most part, it's kind of like you're taking 80% damage of one of the big boys, and you're like, oh man, well I made a mistake, well that's me, you know. And it's like, okay. But again, at the very beginning, it was super impressive. Oh my god, if I just look at Devil Jin funny, he's gonna hit 5 and fucking Psycho Crush me full screen with the tracking attack. And we're so far beyond that, and it's so much better for it. Also, the fact that his mid-game, for the most part, is significantly slower than his normal low crouch cast game, requires the Devil Jin to be masterful in their instant wall stand timing off a crouch dash. Again, the difference between a really good Devil Jin and every other player is very apparent. Would I put him this low tier? Yeah, I think so. I think he's right about with the other characters. I wouldn't put him like bottom. Well, it's hard to say bottom 10, top 10 because we only currently have like 31 characters. But yeah, I mean, he might be right on the cusp of bottom 10. But realistically, I think he's just low mid. I think he's just going to be average, and that's how he's going to stay for a while. Kazuya got some weird, significant buffs. We can quickly go through it. No. No. He's like right in between. He's probably more viable than a Lili. He might actually be our first top 15 contender. But man, I haven't played a super good Kazuya yet, so I haven't got to experience the real buffs yet. Again, oh man, he got so many buffs. It's hard to say. He's a question mark here. I guess we'll see where the chips fall and go from there. Again, I don't know nearly as much of this game, nearly as much experience as T7. Of course, T7 was out for like 8 years, and we're still not even half a year of Tekken 8 yet. So of course, ask me in 2 years what I think of Kazuya. But for now, I think he's right outside of 10. I think that the 10s are like so strong. The one major benefit that I really can't discount of Kazuya, which will probably prop him maybe into top 10 contention, is the man shits out damage. He still has access to down forward 2, perfect electric. He has some new cheekiness with the consistent down forward 1-4. So if you don't have the executional prowess to do electric for a heat smash, a rage art punish, now you at least have access to down forward 1-4 into flop state to push them through the kill line, of course, on the rage arts and stuff like that. So that's kind of nice to have because they did nerf the down back 2s and all the down forward 1-2s and shit like that. He's now playing more similar to like an older Tekken 6, Tekken Tag 2 when it comes to his down forward 1s, but still he has now that access, that 15, easy 15. So that's nice. That's all I can pretty much talk about him because again, the buffs were significant, but I don't have anywhere near enough experience to put him any higher or lower. So, okay, Jack. Kind of similar vein. I haven't played against a really good Jack in a while. He probably, man, it's hard to say. He's probably with them. He's probably worse than Hwoarang. Jack over Xiaoyu. In a head-to-head matchup, I think Xiaoyu clears, but no, Jack would probably win. Man, Paul. Oh, God, Paul. You know what? I'm taking Paul off the fucking list. It's bothering me, having him there. Paul is such a wild card character. Any character who has the chance to, like, instantly kill you is just crazy good. At least in, like, these kind of modern Tekken 7 post games, of course. It's close. He might be in a branch between these. Ooh. Okay. Let's add a row below. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to say here. Is he as good as Lili? Probably not. Is he as good as Hwoarang? Probably not. I don't think he's as good as Raven. Ooh. Man, it's hard. God, I wish I had more modern day Jack experience. I think he probably, like I said, there are a few bad matchups, but again, anytime you're outside of like the top tier or god tier, that's when, of course, like head-to-head matchups start being more of a thing. When top tier themselves tend to be very oppressive to lower tier. Lower tier has to deal with like natural predators at their own tier. So that's always how it has gone. These guys hunt the blows hunt the blows like a food chain, and then they hunt themselves. So again, Xiaoyu probably easily beats Jack, but then Jack easily beats Asuka, beats this, beats that, blah blah blah. Yeah, I'll leave it there for now. Okay, Kuma. Kuma is a character who's insanely punishable. the dude shits out damage, but the problem is I think if Namco was to nerf or further nerf, I should say, the unskilled portion of his wall combo, we would never ever fucking talk about Kuma ever again. The issue here is that, okay, he needs a wall, so he plays very similar to Tekken 7 Lars, where Tekken 7 Lars shits out damage if there's a wall present, because he can go wall to wall in like every stage. But then you take the wall out of the equation, and you're left with Lars, and Lars was trash back then. So, okay, same thing with Bear. You take away the wall from Bear, and now you have a character with a really good 15-frame Punisher, and that's kind of about it. Okay, G-Clef still launch punishable on second hit, still launch punishable third hit, still loses the high crush, still loses the sidestep, loses the power crush, blah 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 blah. Okay, that's cool. So you have a TP and you have a G-Clef, but you're weak to sidestep. You can't sidestep because you're playing an ultra big character. Now your legs are receded, but in this game it feels like it's easier to hit Bear in a standing position nowadays versus Tekken 7, where for some reason like hitbox-hurtbox interaction was completely fucked. But that's kind of about it. And again, we're on the cusp where people have been complaining about Bear so much that if they nerf Bear, nerf his wall, again, we'll never ever fucking talk about Bear ever again. And what I really want to kind of state here is I'm fairly confident every single Bear player on the planet will gladly give up their insane wall damage for a stronger neutral game. Hey, did you know Bear 2-1 is +2? Hey, did you know that if you go airborne and Bear isn't mashing 1, he can't actually combo off of you? Did you know that? Oh, hey, did you know that down back 2 is launch punishable? If you go through Bear's entire move list, did you realize like half his move list is launch punishable +15 or worse? Oh, you didn't know that? Oh, that's kind of weird. That's pretty crazy. Oh, but he has a twin piston that's really good, and he does really good wall damage. Oh, but then if you sidestep to the right, then he can't hit you because they got rid of his down forward 1+2, and they didn't replace it with anything. And up forward 2 is cool and all as a strong aerial tailspin state. It doesn't stop people from stepping to your left or their right. And then on top of it, down forward 1 got nerfed. So it doesn't track that side anymore. It's punishable, and it doesn't have any sort of launching properties on it. Does it do a lot of damage? Yeah, sure. But, give me a character who doesn't have a hit confirmable I-14 that doesn't do a lot of damage, though. Okay. Bear has a lot going for him, don't get me wrong. But still, Bear is really rough character. I don't think we're ever going to see a situation like Bear winning TWT again. And I'd be so glad to be wrong if Rangchu busts out Bear in TWT 2024, wins it all, and makes me eat these words. I would be happy. Because I know it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Is Bear bottom tier, like truly bottom? No, probably not. Again, we haven't really stated what this is, but he's shit's damage. That's it. He's a Lucky Chloe. He's a Lucky Chloe without the evasion of a Lucky Chloe. Okay, cool. You want to talk about a character who's really strong? Same thing with Alisa, who has fallen through the cracks for so long. It probably is Yoshi. Yoshi did get some significant nerfs from V104, but in V105, he got the opposite. He got some nice little quality of life changes. He's a character where if you forget the rules, you die. He's a character who, for some reason, kind of similar to Claudio, has really good flinch, like ground hitting options. I don't really understand how that happened. But yeah, if you are in certain positions, he can both ground steel pedal and hit you on flinch, period. And then on top of it, like down 2 series, I believe, if he does go high root, it's like, what, -11 or something like that on block? Like a lot of his kit is actually pretty safe on block relative to what they like grant you. So I don't know, it's kind of weird. And he has like this weird hodgepodge of -11s to -13s. He, ever since back in the day, he lost all his minus 14 presence. He still has up forward 3, which low crushes and jab crushes, and has ridiculous tracking in certain situations. I mean, back 2-2 is a launcher with heat. It's certain combos, certain things lead to a back 2-2 on, full launch positioning. If you're able to conserve your meter, you can set up these situations where, again, counter it, confirm, back 2-2, launch, get the opponent to the wall, and now all of a sudden the opponent is put into blender where you have access to forward almost 2, which causes steel pedal, or full crouch down forward 1, low sword sweep, and the opponent has to guess. And what's funny is we're so far beyond the CD1 meta, which now actually for Yoshi can be performed with a shortcut. I think down forward 1+3 or down forward 1+4 or something like that. So he can shortcut the input now. So like even if you didn't have the technical prowess to do CD1, now you can do CD1 and CD2 off shortcut. But again, that doesn't change the fact that he doesn't have to commit to CD1 again. He now just does forward 1+2, which causes ground steel pedal, puts you back into the vortex, and best of all, not launch punish bomb block. Okay, good luck with that. Further annoying with forward 1+2 is that he can heat dash cancel for full launch too. So, I mean, there's a lot to like with Yoshi. Does he have problems? Yes, but he probably is top, at least at the bare minimum, top 15. I think Yoshi is probably better than Kazuya. I think he's better than Raven, Lili, Hwoarang. Yeah, probably. I think so. I think the nerfs that he's received were warranted quality of life changes for the rest of the cast, such that he can't phantom flash you for you just same thing, just existing. You get flashed and you die, and then on top of that, he has the access to the new stronger heat game. The fact that under heat, he basically has instant NSS properties, 1-1 counter launcher, Dragonfly 1 launcher, forward 1+2 heat dash cancel with the steel pedal on top of it, and the fear of him canceling and this and that. And yeah, I mean, he's a menace, and that's not even counting his guard break effect, where if you tech roll, you tech into a guard break, which, hey, leads to a back 2-2, which leads to a full launcher or a heat dash cancel launcher. Yoshi's very, very strong. And I don't want to downplay this character because I think he's been downplayed long enough. I think Yoshi's been perfectly viable ever since, I think, at least Season 4 of Tekken 7. Arguably even earlier than that. And yeah, as usual, he's a character who blows you up. You forget a rule, you die. And now it's like, okay, he has additional kits to benefit the fear of, if the person closes up, maybe has scarier things to approach with. He now has scarier things to really fuck up your day. I mean, even an option like what is it, 3-1, I believe, the high. I think 3-2 is the mid. Whichever one is the kick into the high. Yeah, the fact that same thing, you launch him, but you launch him with scaled. So even if he doesn't read you correctly, he's not taking that much damage in the grand scheme of things. Okay, or if he goes the 3 mid-series, most people aren't going to challenge the second hit because the third hit's there, but the third hit's only minus 14. And same thing, this goes back to the fact that no character really has a significantly scary 14. Now, this is the spicy part, right? So as I talked about how certain characters can prey on certain characters, launching 14, butterfly flap enhanced heat mode 13. Technically, Claudio has a full crouch down 4-2, 1+2 off a full crouch. Alisa doesn't have a scary 14. King, wall stand 2-2, 14 is very strong. Shaheen's kind of weird spot. Wall stand 3-3 I wouldn't call scary, but for his 13 framer, but still. TP is scary. Launcher, small combo. Jack. I guess I wouldn't call Jack small combo. Neither with Lili. Lili's not small combo either technically, but still, most people would rather close up waiting for the third hit, which then allows your second hit to go through. And like I said, even if they guess correctly against the the 3-1 high, they can just float you, and then the damage potential is so reduced. And then also furthermore, under the facts of a flow, a float state or under heat state mid combo, all the health is completely regeneratable for the defender. So Yoshi is taking full red life or not red life damage. He's fully gaining gray health as you do your damage to him at 70% scaling, which probably is going to be scaled worse because you're probably going to do a float option to a jab, which is further damaging the damage potential for you. And then on the flip side, Yoshi small combo when he enters into Dragonfly, it is able to do 1 billion damage with the new forward 1+2. So what he would normally not, get a small combo on, now he can enter into Dragonfly, forward 1+2, which wall splats from 1,000,000 miles away. And even without a wall splat potential, the combo does like 55 damage, which is crazy for like a non-spin line. And then add in the wall, add in the Oki, and all of a sudden you're dead. And it's like, oh shit, what happened to my health? And I forgot one rule, and I instantly die. That's how the cookie crumbles there, right? Okay, Law. Man, Law... No. Probably? He's probably right here on top 10. What really frustrates me with Law is, like, they made certain things significantly worse, like e.g. 3+4 comes to mind, right? The I-14 launcher, which needed to get nerfed. Thank God it got nerfed. But at the same time, they, like, kind of overbuffed a lot of his other kit to, I don't know if compensate would be the right word, but to really, really help out his kit, like, tremendously. Okay, so I think he's probably better than Yoshi, so we can put him right here. He's probably on pace with Shaheen. I think that's probably pretty accurate. But yeah, I mean, what's not to like about Law now, right? He's a safer character in a game where characters don't have fucking I-14 standing launchers. His 1-1-1 is still a G-Clef counter hit confirmable launcher with heat dash cancel. And even if you don't cancel it, it's still, what, -12? Compare that to Dragunov 121, which is still -14 and doesn't launch. Like, little things like that, I don't understand. Making the downforce structure safer, it really, really crazy. Again, in certain matchups, you can exploit your opponent's, like, weak punishment to really get, like, to keep constantly fucking with their head. And then he also has the command parries. He had easily one of the best heat smashes in the game until it got nerfed. Luckily, it did get nerfed. It was one of the heat smashes that 100% need to get nerfed. So I'm very, very glad that it did that. But yeah, the biggest detriment, similar to Shaheen, is the loss of the steel pedal flip over effect. So anytime you do a slide, he would do, cancel 1+2, which would steel pedal you, put you into an immediate blender. And then on top of that, similar to Shaheen Sneak 2, if the opponent flinches, the 1+2 nunchuck steel pedal is actually a spin launcher. But unlike Shaheen's, which he can float you, it's harder to convert Shaheen's versus Law's because Law causes instant tornado spin, so you're never going to drop the combo because you have like 70 frames to react and do an extension, right? And like I said, Shaheen causes a float. Sometimes they're too far, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I mean, Law is very, very safe for how much damage he can perform. He's one of the first characters to have the first optimized power splat, unscaled line, able to do a ton of fucking damage. And it's not even super difficult because like everyone and the brother can do that combo line. Yeah, he has pretty much it all. He has that super safe down back 3. He still has access to low high, which is still a very, very strong tool, especially now that Heat Burst at their fastest, I think, hit on I-16. So to have access to I would assume his I-15, having access to an I-15 low high that's +0 is really, 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 really strong. And then mix that with the safer counter hit game of the jabs. The only other problem, of course, he lost his Magic 4, but he still can do Shaolin kicks for conversion. But at the same time, Shaolin kicks while non-jailing is still very, very hard to punish. Combine that with either slow reaction time or with online latency, all of a sudden his Shaolin kick technically goes from launch punishable to frustratingly strong. So if you're not on the ball, if you're a little late, you get fucked by it still. So, okay, good luck max punishing it. Every single time. It It's possible. It's very, very difficult, especially in an online environment. But yeah, I think Law's still really, really strong. He got some significant changes, but he still has some really silly things. Sidestep 3+4, non-spin launcher, still massive hitbox. 3+4 is still a really good 14-frame Punisher and able to end combos. 4 filler is a nice little single-hit filler line to him to give him a little bit more float and little Loftus combos. Yeah, he kind of got some nice little changes there. You have to play him a little differently, but still, you can play him Unga, especially in certain matchups, so really, really strong. Okay, so Dragunov did get some significant nerfs in 104, but he probably still is top 5. He for sure is in top 10. Is he top 5? Yeah, out of this 5 he is. I don't think he is. He's probably... You know what? I think these 4 are like in the same branch together. Okay, so I'm going to start delineating from like relative power strength because I think it's going to start getting really, really spicy. Yeah, I think if there was to have a list, you know, it would be like this. I think of the top, it would be like the gods. But for now, I think leaving them together is perfectly fine. I think it's something like that. I think it's pretty accurate. Yeah, he might not be truly top 5 anymore, but he's definitely in the argument for it. Obviously, he's proven himself to be perfectly still tournament capable, even post-nerf, and I think that does have the stem with his movement. Any character... Okay, so the old adage, and I'm sure you by now you guys have heard me say this, the old adage in older Tekken games was, if your character had a hop kick, your character was not bad. You could play your character in tournament, and you're fine to go. Nowadays, in a T7 world, T7 post world, if your character has good movement, your character is not bad. So Dragunov, Alisa, Nina with her command movement, King kind of starts breaking some of that shit there, but you know, all these characters have really good movement or good special mobility. Something to keep them in the game, something for them to evade, this and that. And yeah, Dragunov has that in spades. He's very simple, but he has movement to benefit. His combo damage is still pretty good despite the nerfs. And yeah, he for sure is top 10 at the bare minimum. I don't know about top 3, but maybe arguably in top 5. So speaking of characters who got way too strong, and they got overly nerfed, and then got significant buffs afterwards. Azucena, definitely, for sure. Azucena, I still haven't played against someone who has like fully adjusted to the new lead pressure game. But in theory, she still is very terrifying to go against. And that really has to stem with the fact that a leap stance doesn't have really, really strong counterplay to it. So in the past, against Lieb, you could theoretically just pop your heat burst, lock her down, and put her into an I-16, and then essentially get a little momentum going your way, but more importantly, break her out of leap stance. But now that Heat Burst has tracking issues, it has less priority, it loses certain options, this and that. It's significantly scary to try to interrupt Lieb with Heat Burst, and you kind of oftenly get hit in the face while trying to do it. So, yeah, I think we haven't seen someone play Azucena at her tip top yet. With that being said, the nerfs are substantial. I think overall she probably still clears June. Man, June, I gotta throw June up. I'm throwing June up a little bit higher just now that I think about it. I think she still clears these 4. She clears Kuma. She probably is pretty solid middle road, maybe leaning a little bit more on the lower mid side, but I think her changes are significant in improving her game. Of course, the only problem is that you lost her super safe 1-1, which was very strong, +8 leap entrance, -8 on block, now -10. That's a huge nerf. But she still has a pretty good kit to kind of round her out. And I'm still waiting for someone to have a breakout. Now, the only problem, of course, I see here is that, what was it? Was it Ulsan played her at DreamHack? Or was that Combo Breaker, question mark? And he got fucking annihilated. So he switched to Dragunov and then, ended up winning, spoiler alert. So yeah, that leads me to have a little bit of a dark tinge to be like, yeah, maybe she's not that good. But I think she shits damage, has good range, good mix-up. The fact that BT2 and Just Frame is still safe on block, the newly buffed Leap 2 is really, really good. I'm still waiting for an Azucena specialist to have that breakout. But yeah, she probably still is kind of middle of the road. Again, leaning slightly negative, lower end. Okay, Lee. At the bare minimum, he's right outside of 10. Is he in top 10? Because obviously we're like, this is it for top 10, right? Quote unquote. But at the same time, we're probably going to have more than 10. Ooh, it's hard to say. Now, the good news for Lee is that the slide change didn't affect him. So he dodged that part of it. The access, back 3-3 is a massively strong part of his kit. What a great addition to his kit. Man, down 3 still has problems max punishing it. If you're even a sliver or a smidge late on time, you get... Oh, man. Yeah, I think bottom of 10 is pretty accurate. Yeah, the guy shits out damage. He has super good carry. Wall stand 2-3 on 14 now is more consistent. He has the Just Frame game that got recently buffed as well. I mean, what's not to like about the character? Like, really, right? They nerfed a few silly things from T7, but he's still really, really good. And, spoiler alert, because this is a newer one, so we did watch... God, what was it? OTP Only the Best. And Super Kuma did insanely well against Arslan. And Arslan playing, right? And he almost beat Arslan. And Arslan won it all. And he was playing Lee. And there were a few situations where if Super Kuma was just a little bit more locked in, a little bit tighter, or not, dropping anything, I think there was a realistic chance of him beating Arslan, And I think that's all you really have to know. The guy won it all. And, Lee's good. He's been good for a long time. I know controversially people didn't like my old placement in Tekken 7, but that looks fine. I think he's perfectly fine right there. I think that's okay. Stevo's character, who did have some weird changes, the addition to Lionheart was a nice little addition to his kit. But the problem with Lionheart was that Lionheart would be vulnerable to Power Crush, Rage Art, stuff like that. Anything that could armor through, because he was forced to transition to Lionheart, would essentially eat him alive. Of course, in the latest V105, that's no longer the case. You can now cancel Lionheart by simply holding back. You don't have to do any sort of special ninjutsu techniques to cancel stance. So it's a nice little quality of life buff there. I don't know. I still think even before the buffs, I think Steve was still a really good character. I think the addition to have the mid shift cancel punches that are counter launches, kind of like a really weird change to give a character like Steve. Steve has the high presence, the cancel presence, the cancel presence in the sense of actually canceling the stance. And now that they added that little cross-up slide attack, it's man, that's a really weird change to give him. So, is he top 10? Man, he's I want to say he's right on the cusp. I think he's probably right outside of 10. I think that's pretty accurate. Yeah, I think so. Right. I'm thinking of anything else for him that's significantly noteworthy. I think the main trademark of Steve for a long time now has just been his safety, and as mentioned, if things aren't punishable on block, they require you to duck, right? So things like Lancaster, which if you're late, you get counter hit and CC'd into the wall. Okay. Yeah, not super hard. Lancaster pretty easy to duck consistently. Okay, 421, same thing. Cancel the stance very fast. Now we can also cancel it. Any sort of high presence, same thing. Cancel into shift mid option. It makes me wonder when, I'm not going to say it here. Whenever the last character of this year comes out, assuming the leaks are correct, I'm not going to say it. That character also has sliding mid cancel. So does that mean he's going to have that mechanic? In which case, it's going to be really good. Like, straight up, the character's going to be hella good with that little addition. I don't know. I wish I knew more about Steve. I wish I played Steve. But yeah, I never really put much time into him in any game previously. I can make it look like I kind of know how to play him in like maybe one game, like if I play Mokujin, but still, I simply don't know enough about Steve to give an honest here. But I think he's always been decently good, and his new Lionheart cancels are a step in the right direction. I mean, what's to say about Panda that we didn't say about Kuma? I'm going to throw the two of them together, but yeah, Kuma is just a worse version of... Panda's worse version of Kuma. So, like, one of the worst characters in the game is, like, significantly worse. Okay, Panda has the ability to now cancel roll into Shooting Star, and that's really cool and all. Yeah, okay, so we have Leo here. Leo, I think, is one of those characters, same thing, who's gone under the radar for a long time. The only issue I have with Leo in this game is very matchup dependent with her options to apply pressure. So characters with a generic down 4 on 12 or a generic, some sort of command 12 frame presence can eat Leo alive. But a lot of other characters don't have said generic tools to round out their kit. So in those matchups, Leo does work. In other matchups, Leo doesn't do as much work. So just looking at the top here, so Jin lost his generic 12. Nina has down 4. Claudio down 4. I think Alisa still has generic down 4. Dragunov has down back 4. King has down 4. I would assume Shaheen still has down 3+4 for his command, I think it was. For generic, and a command down 4. So, okay, so like right away by definition, when I talked about how the top tier tend to hunt the lower tier, yeah, I think that's the case. I think Leo is right on the cusp of being very, very strong. I can't wait to see how Ao Richie does at Golden Letters in a few months. I can't wait to see it. I think Leo, the changes of quality of life have been significant in buffing Leo. Down 4-2 was a nice change. For the most part, Leo is safer. Leo now has access to more options from install, though the efficacy of said options are arguable, which I think might be one of the detriments of Leo. But yeah, kind of similar to Claudio, having access to at least one charge of the special install stance is a really big, significant change. And yeah, I think Leo, don't sleep on any character with good movement, good evasion, and good punishment, and good combo damage. The fact that Leo no longer needs a wall is a step in the right direction. Same thing, might have been one of the things holding back Leo from real representation in Tekken 7. Is just open field damage, but now that Leo has it, okay, well, Leo's definitely on the conversation for the possibility of top 10. Would I put it top 10 and them immediately top 10? God, it's hard to say. It's hard to say, because you could argue that Leo has similar strength to Yoshi and Lee here. Now, is Leo better than Kazuya? Ooh, it's hard to say. Again, even though I said that I wouldn't order it, I think maybe this. Ooh. Damn, do I branch again? Okay, this is the first run. This is the first run, so I'm gonna branch again. Okay. So I think here, and same thing, we'll do top 10. Oh shit. Top 10, top 10. Okay. And then we'll do another pass. Zafina, I just don't have nearly enough experience against Zafina. I think for the most part, Zafina, the latest quality of life changes have been a step in the right direction. I have not played against Zafina, even decent ones where I've been like, I don't know. It's hard to say. Same thing. I think there are good matchups for Zafina. I think there's bad matchups for Zafina. Is Zafina as good as Lili or Hwoarang? No, probably not. I don't think so. Zafina better than Jack? Ooh, it's hard to say. I think these three have potential with the correct pilots to do really good work. But yeah, I don't think they quite cross into that mid threshold here. Better than Xiaoyu, better than Asuka. Oh, yeah, it's harder. It's harder. I think this is all the same family, and I'm just kind of being, I don't know if pedantic would be the right word. Maybe overzealous. It might be a little bit more better for me. Okay. Yeah, it's hard to say. I think they're all in the same family. Feng. Yeah, I mean, I think Feng easily up here. Feng better than Leo, Yoshi, and Lee. Yeah, probably. I think so. Better than Law, better than Shaheen. It's hard to say. I think they're right on the cusp of each other. I said I wouldn't order this, but maybe I'm starting to order it now. I think, I think Feng is in the conversation with these characters here. King is their whole own thing, of course, but and yeah, same thing. Feng is a character who has been getting significant buffs over the years. The good news is, since T7's life and the blowing up of popularity of Feng, Feng did get some changes to make them more manageable to deal with, but same thing. Weird things like in CNT, the CD4 used to stagger, and it doesn't stagger anymore in CBT. So we've known this for a while, that it wouldn't stagger on block, and it still doesn't. Feng has a nerfed side sway, but you don't really have to worry about side sway if you use it in a position where it's going to hit, right? You don't do a back sway just to do a back sway. You do a back sway in a part where you think they're going to hit a button or do something kind of stubby to disrespect them. Okay, now make it your back or your side sway, no longer launch punishable, only -10. But as we've seen in tournament, very often people still don't punish side sway. Is that a knowledge problem? Probably not. It might be just muscle memory, simple muscle memory issues, that they're not used to the less pushback up forward too. But at the same time, a lot of times Fangs will then disrespect that -10 and try to back Kempo, then they get hit by a mid. And you're like, bro, what'd you think was going to happen when you're hitting a button or doing something at -10, right? I don't know. Fang does good damage. Damic 3 is still only -15 on block. Thank God back 2 or back 1 is now -12. That way, at least there's some significant way to punish him better. Thank God things like back turn 2 got nerfed and, this and that. But at the same time, it kind of goes to show you that even with these, I wouldn't call them significant nerfs. Like up forward 3 was a more universal change. Back turn 2 is over-tuned as it was. Like getting rid of those. Yeah, Fang I think still easily clears like most of the cast in this game. What's not to like about Fang, right? Like realistically, what's not to like him? The new Parting Cloud drop, auto parry, launcher off 2 hits now. Maddening. Like what a buff. I don't get it, man. Fang is still really, really, really good, and it might be a little bit overkill there. Okay, Lars. Man, I've not played against a good Lars in a while, and if I lose to Lars, I really feel like something went wrong that I could have easily overcome to basically beat them. I was like immediately gonna put him into like middle tier, but I think like lower middle is probably more accurate. He's not quite as frantic as a few of these characters, but I think what he loses in Panic, I mean, shit, he still kind of has in Panic. Like DE3 into SE1 is still uninterruptible. Like that's a crazy, crazy change to me. But yeah, what he lacks in just general like chaos and whatnot, he kind of gains in his other kind of portion, like consistency, really good wall carry, really good damage. Post heat, he has really strong options to still carry you to the wall and still get a full combo. I think that's a nice addition. Even the fact that we're kind of fading away from Lars forward 3+4 off of a heat meta, the fact that he still has access to that's huge. Even an option like Avalanche 4, the jumping high flying through the air attack, is still way overtuned despite the fact that they nerfed it. Like, kind of questionable things. I don't think back in the day with Lars here, same thing. I kind of theorized that he was a character who was like 1 or 2 buffs away from being absolutely broken. And I can honestly say at this point, I don't really feel that to be the case. I think what Namco could do has already been done, and we're not going to see anything significantly different than that. So we might see a change here or there, maybe a quality of life buff, but still, I don't think we're going to ever see anything major on Lars until we see what would effectively be the first expansion pack for this game. Typically it ends with an R, DR, BR, FR for Tekken 7. I don't know, CR maybe for Tekken 8. I don't know. Whatever the next expansion pack, maybe we'll see a few key changes to him. But I think, unfortunately, Namco kind of built themselves into a corner here. There's not much they can do with him that won't be either really stupid or really not usable. So, yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what will happen in the future. But, yeah, maybe we'll see an overhaul. That kind of has been Lars' kind of MO since Season 2 of Tekken 7. They tend to overhaul him, and even though he's still the same character at heart, like the changes here and there are kind of strange. So I don't know. Okay, Bryan. Yeah, I think Bryan is probably mid-high. I think he's better than all these 4. I think he also prays against these 4 pretty well. Is he as strong as Steve? Probably not. The V105 change of like taunt now being unscaled is a nice change for Bryan there. But at the same time, I think after the initial unnerf where it, like seeing CBT, the last beta, where clearly the taunt was like way too shitty, and then they kind of they took away the 50 scaling, I think it was, and they changed it to 70 scaling. I think he was in a fine place. Now he's at 100 scaling, of course, like the best even better. But Bryan has quite a lot of dumb things. Dynamic 1+2, heat engage, safe on block. He's at 1+2, heat engage. That's also a launcher, safe on block. Things like that. The new up forward 2 line. I don't think we've seen a super optimized Bryan yet. Like for instance, people still don't really use up forward 2 to max punish with Bryan. Up forward 2 is his machine gun punch with his right arm, where he does the kick into knee lifter. In case you don't know, up forward 2 hits on 13. So if the opponent hop kicks, you can up forward 2, and if there's a wall nearby, it's a launcher. Oh, hey, did you know that? Like, it's not explored. I don't think I've ever seen any Bryan player do that. Maybe that's the kind of a tale of two cities here. Maybe the reason you don't get to see this cool up forward 2 punishment game is because he's so steamrolly, right? Maybe the little intricacies of the character are lost because he's all gas in this game, right? TNT Sabaki lines, TNT 3+4/2 being NC, wall crush effect, and also -1 on block. Oh yeah, and non-jailing, so you can get hit when you're just like, if you hit your stick wrong mid-string, you get like launched right into the wall, stuff like that. I don't know, a little kind of weird shit like that. Does he play T8? Yeah, pretty well. Does he play T8 as well as the other top tiers? Not so much, right? So I think I still want to see like a Bryan player really, really shine, and I think that moment will come pretty soon. I don't know. Nee is still kind of getting used to the game, but players like Tai, players like Multi, I think will be the future, and hopefully we start seeing that like upward to max punish meta and taunt setups and this and that really come to fruition as the game kind of develops and matures. Okay, Reina got significant nerfs. With that being said, she probably is top 10. Like I'm gonna put her in our now top 14, top 10, or what are we at now? 12 plus 1. So yeah, I think she's still top 10. 442 got nerfed, yet still has some good tracking. The fact that a character can really play around with, first of all, having incredible punishment in general, and anytime you have a mixture of standing pressure and knockdown pressure, follow pressure, mind games mixed in at the same time, you can be risk averse with your mind games, is really huge. My guess is as time goes on, as people get more and more used to her, her efficacy will fall off. People will naturally be able to option select things like Wrath 2 and stuff like that. I don't think we're quite at that point yet. So in theory, she still can hold her own, having access to down 4-2 on 15, I-13 electric, that twin piston option, hell sweep mix-ups, having extra juice like the command down 1+4, instant duck stance that can then cancel into invisible options. It's pretty crazy. Very recently, we had seen Yagami show off forward tech options into assist mode electric for punishment, which is crazy. I can't wait to see a bot have that shit macroed. They're like, okay, cool. I get parried and launched like we're playing fucking Third Strike, So in a perfect world, in a robotic world, she's easily top 5. In a human world, she's probably top 15. But she's our 13th place top 10er here currently. Okay, Eddy. Eddy's a cool character. Eddy got a bad rap for being, Eddy with a 3. But same time, I think Eddy is one of the cooler, more interesting characters that Namco has added, and it kind of gives me hope for the future that the characters that they're adding to this game aren't going to be simple copy and paste jobs. Like you can argue, Kazuya plays pretty similar, Paul, Bryan, Lili got some changes, but for the most part, for the mostly same character, stuff like that. Eddy is a character who could have been an easy, simple copy and paste, and Namco said no. They revamped HSP. They revamped Relax such that he's now in a crouching state, so you don't have to worry about things just phantom whiffing for punishment. So good. The dude shits out damage, has good wall carry, but still there are ways to get around him and to beat him. You can, of course, play fairly risk averse with him, but at the end of the day, you're still going to eventually have to take at least a -13 risk to get something started. So I think the nerf to 443 was a really big detrimental nerf, especially when you consider the fact that, King, they didn't change his 4 Ninja 2 to -14, but yet Eddy's is. But still, he is always been a cool character, and T8 kind of gives hope for the future. The only problem here, of course, for the most part, Lidia kind of looks like she's the same character, so I don't know about that. I don't know, man. Like I was like, oh, Eddy completely, I wouldn't say redesigned ground up, but okay, they converted him to be more consistently punishable with newer options, this and that. And then Lydia's like, oh, she kind of is like the same character. So I don't want to completely discount Lidia because it looks like, her new retreat stance and stuff like that. She has some new tricks. But I think it really feels like Lidia might have been designed for V105, and they kind of missed the boat to release her with that major patch. So I don't know. Like I said, I'll make a follow-up video on Lidia here. But yeah, Eddy, I think Eddy is pretty middle of the road. I think he's higher middle of the road because his damage potential and certain walls and certain stages, he can do some pretty cheeky stuff. But yeah, I personally like him. And I like how he has counterplay rather than just phantom. Certain matchups, he just gets annihilated, and other matchups, you can't even touch him. So, okay, Victor was a character who got a little excessively nerfed. Obviously, they were going to nerf running 2. I never in a million years thought would have been running 2 into stance. So the problem with Victor, he's probably with Xiaoyu and the kids down here. So the problem with Victor is the problem he's always had. So Namco really, really wants to make EI a thing, but the problem is they don't give him any supplementary tools off of EI stance to make him decently scary. So a great analog would be with Leroy here. So the problem with Leroy is Leroy will do a Punisher like 1-2-4, down 4 1-4, wall stand 1-4. You do all these attacks, and you're +3, but you enter into stance automatically. The problem is you're +3, and the fastest attack off of Hermit you have is Hermit 4. So if they Power Crush, Rage Art, Sabaki you, or Reversal you, there's no way to actually beat that option. Now, you can cancel stance, but in Tekken 8, the sidestep canceling is now slower, so you actually have to physically cancel stance by tapping 3+4. You can't do down, back, you can't hold back, you can't double tap or anything to cancel stance. It's only 3+4. In Tekken 7, you could, again, sidestep left, sidestep right to cancel stance, and still guard Rage Art. You can't do that in Tekken 8. Okay, so right away, he's not a beginner character because of that alone. That one changed, like, clear, but that alone. Same issue with Victor here. Instead of you doing stance entrance +3 with your fast attack being 11, now your +5 stance entrance and your fast attack is EI1 on 13. So again, 2-frame window. You can't beat Power Crush. You can't beat Rage Arts. You can't beat this. You can't beat that. Now, they did give Victor some new juice. He can now cancel stance into what I call a white hole, so Raven's teleport by tapping up. The problem is he's only invulnerable for like 3 or 4 frames, so unless, same thing, you're robot or perfectly no like counter timing, you can't use those invulnerability frames to escape. So what happens is they just still launch you, and then you still just die. Very, very unfortunate. Even things like back 2, they buffed it, but at the same time, it's still pretty useless. Up forward 2 and back 4 are still really, really bad, all things considered. I was actually thinking about this earlier today. So Victor's back 4 is I-18. And the problem is if they go for a hop kick, you trade and you don't get anything. So the bad news is if you hit them, the good news is you hit them at midair, you can technically convert it if you know what to do. Down back 1-1 into 4-4-2 or down back 1-1 into like Perfumer 2 line. Okay. Now, if you do up forward 2, you can't connect on anything either. Okay, that's not good. But then you compare that to Leroy back 3, which hits on 9. Okay, so back 4 with Victor used to be -6 or -5. I think it's -3 now. But compare that to Leroy, who has, instead of I-18, his back 3 is I-19. But his back 3 is +9 on block, and also on counter hit essentially leads to a launch, whereas Victor's can never lead to a launch. Second of all, Leroy back 3 causes strong tailspin state, or aerial tailspin. So against an airborne opponent who mashes out, you could still link into a combo and get a combo, which is great. And Victor still doesn't have any of that shit. Even an option like down +2 is pretty slow in the grand scheme of things to never be able to use for like anti-air properties or anything. It's more of like a flinch catch option. It's like having a safe steel pedal that doesn't do anything. It just hits a steel pedal. It's like so weird. Like if they made it faster, he'd be fine. If back 4 was faster, he'd be fine. If EI1 was a frame faster, it would be fine. Now, would it be OP? We're now talking in the realm of probably starting to get overtuned. So same thing. They've kind of built this character they backed themselves into a corner. There's nowhere they can go with Victor without making him worse or making him insanely overpowered. And he needed nerfs, granted, But at the same time, he was arguably like the one brand new character in this game who was balanced right out of the gate. He had some gimmicks, but he had counterplay. And if you read against him, you could easily counter him. Whereas a character out of the gate like Reina required you to like hard read nonstop. And I see my music has stopped, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and replay this one. I have no idea when it stopped, by the way. So yeah, it's like, okay, now Victor has obvious counterplay, and against certain matchups, yeah, he just gets blown up. So I'll just give a shout out to top 10, top 14, or top 13, top 10 Yoshi here. Same thing. If you ever enter into EI stance, he can do back 3 and he just annihilates the stance. So then the meta becomes, okay, using an option like running 2 by itself. Only problem is running 2, you're +2. So yeah, good luck with hitting him with that I-18 homing attack that probably still loses the back 3 because of the range and stuff like that. So, or back 4, sorry. Okay, Paul. He probably is middle of the road. I think he has the potential to be insane. He does insane damage. We already talked about him earlier. But I'll put him middle here. Maybe on the cusp of top 10. You know what? For meme's sake, let's go ahead and just throw him top 10. For sure. Okay. Let's start consolidating lists here. Okay, so even though Panda is like by far the worst character in the game, I think they do have some, what do you call it? Some redeeming factors that probably keep them from trash tier. I don't know if there is anyone truly trash in this game, at least in its current state. I think the latest patch helped normalize the difference between okay characters and like bad characters and really good characters. So probably maybe more of something like this. Yeah, it's hard to throw Jack and them into this tier. So maybe it's better. Shit, I hate to do it. Maybe it is better to starting to bring other characters up. God, man, I hate to do it. Like I'm seeing like, damn, is Victor really bottom 4 though? Whew. Okay, well, you know what? Let's break away from that. Okay, top 5. You know, let's go ahead. We'll throw them top 5. We'll make it official. I think that's pretty good for a top 5. And top 10, we'll make it seem like we know what we're talking about, even though it's what, 9? Yeah, 9. 5 plus 4. Yeah, top 10. But in the same time, I actually mean this is literally top 10, like including them. So that'll just be your and mine secret. Let's don't talk about anyone else. Like, don't mention in the comments. I'm talking to just you. You, yes, you. Don't mention it to anyone else. Okay. Yeah, Steve, Kazuya, Bryan, Eddy. Let's call him just outside. I think that's pretty accurate. Just outside. So, you know what? I think the Menace. Menaces? Is Menaces a word? Let's say viable. Lower viable. And then we'll call it, like, I don't know, unfortunate. I think that's pretty good. Okay, let's go over this with a fine-tooth comb again. Man, I don't want to say Victor is not viable though. I don't think that's fair. I mean, all these characters. You know what? God, yeah. Again, I can't say they're not viable because the T8 is a game where like everyone's viable. I think the fact that like everyone has gimmicks, every character has explosiveness, really kind of props them up. Victor has explosiveness, Bears have explosiveness. It's kind of the same issue as, again, Lucky Chloe, but at the same time, Lucky Chloe just had things that just weren't punishable to certain characters. So, but at the same time, she also got preyed on by higher tier. Okay, you know what? Super viable. Lower viable. Yeah, again, I don't want to shit on them like being the worst. To be honest, I think they're all like all these guys are right on the conversation. I think they're all in the conversation. So let's go ahead and change the color codes here. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna put this, yeah, like yellow. Is it? It's like yellow. Okay. Yeah. So this would be like A tier, B tier, and C tier. So I don't want to get it mixed up, and I'm sure someone will see this and be like, "Oh, no, I think this is more like A, B, C," and this is just for clarity's sake here. Okay, let's take a look through this. Top 5, I think that's pretty fair. Would I squeeze anyone into top 5? I think if anyone has the possibility, probably Feng. I think King is decently strong, but I don't think he's necessarily top 5. If he still had the homing throw game, I think he would be probably top 5. Okay. Is there anyone I hate there? Reina is like right on the cusp of hate. But I think she's okay. Menaces. Man, the only thing I'm seeing here with like super viable is Azucena. I really need to see someone prove their worth with Azucena there. Ooh, man, it's hard. It's hard, dude. God dang it. You know what? I don't want to call him C, because if I call him C, then people, same thing. People are going to misconstrue it. Like, god dang it, dude. Again, A tier, B tier, C tier. Like, straight up. Okay, yeah, I think this is pretty fair right here. I can't drop him. I can't raise him either, though. I think potential. God damn it! Do I want to split this up again? I think Jun has potential. Oh man, Asuka's like, God, it's like right in between, but I don't want to subdivide this even further. Okay, you know what? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna simplify this. Let's go ahead and divide them. Okay, so let's get rid of barely viable. Because yeah, I hate the connotation. Because yeah, again, this is T8. T8's like a fucking super happy fun time kind of game. So okay, Jun I think has potential. Zafina probably has potential. Man, Asuka shits out damage, dude. Oh, I'm regretting making this fucking separate list now. Yeah, I regret it. I'm fucking. I wish I could just undo. Upper viable. You know what? I'm gonna. Oh, sorry to sneeze. Okay, let's throw our boys back down here. Okay, I need to nerf. I need to drop someone here. I think Jun has more potential than Zafina. I think Zafina in her current state is actually unfortunately kind of explored. I don't know. I don't really feel any things coming down the pipe with her, and I haven't seen any tech online. Oh god, the naming conventions are giving a bit in the ass. I can just feel it. Okay, one more time. Looks good. Looks good. Am I dropping Paul? God, Paul does so much damage, dude. Okay, Paul's a menace. He's a menace. He's a menace. I'm dropping him. I'm dropping him. Yeah, I gotta drop him. Okay, upper viable. Yeah, Xiaoyu, I'm not super good against Xiaoyu, but I think a lot of her nerfs were kind of really warranted, and I think she's been hit decently hard, but at the same time, she still really shits out damage, and there are kill scenarios with her that are really advantageous to deal with. Like, Jun's kind of in a similar boat. You forget one of the rules, you get hit on a random weird frame or weird active, and then you kind of get put into a killing position, which is like TA in a nutshell, of course, right? Okay, I'm happy. I'm happy. You know what? I'm not going to think too much about it. Just note, again, A tier, B tier, C tier. I think they're all basically all in the same boat. Realistically, I mean, again, this game, T8 especially, you can make anyone viable. If you put plenty of time into them, you can easily make it further into a bracket. Okay, so you have now seen my top tier list, my top 32, I guess, or top 31 that was made a month ago. Let's go ahead and make a few changes to the list. So actually, I will start with an interesting one. We're going to go ahead and start with Steve, and I do have slight notes today. Usually I do these off the cuff, but I do have a little bit of notes today. So Steve, the latest V105 patch actually did a lot of work for him. The only issue, and this is what you'll hear me say quite often in all these like changes, we haven't seen Steve win a major tournament or place really high in a major tournament yet. For the most part, we just have low high, maybe knee, but knee unfortunately has been placing super well recently. And then like Numan from Pakistan. And I'm sure I'm missing some other players, but that's kind of it when it comes to tier positionings. In theory, a character like Steve, especially after his Lionheart cancels, is very strong. But we haven't seen any notification or sign that Steve is going to be super good. So in theory, I can see Steve being up here, and this will probably be my only floating character. And what I'll do, I'll leave a little so I'll edit it in. So I'll leave him as a floating character. He's currently a menace, but I definitely can see him being in top 10. Also, to reiterate for people, it's a top 10, but again, there is still not a lot known about this game that my top 10 is like a top 12. Sue me, okay, whatever. But yeah, so keep that in mind. Top 10 is, not top 10. Okay, so yeah, Steve can be up there. With that being said, I think, especially when you compare Xiaoyu to the rest of these characters, I think Xiaoyu is a menace. The changes to Tekken 7 have been super good for Xiaoyu. She kind of got a few nerfs similar to Yoshi. And actually, whoops, I just noticed something. My Yoshi's in the incorrect tier. I'm pretty sure I had him in top 10. And yeah, Yoshi deserves to be in top 10. Again, watch my explanation as to why he's up there. But yeah, Yoshi should be top 10. And you know what? I don't have time to check all the prior video. But if I made a mistake, my apologies. But yeah, Yoshi, I had deliberated about dropping him the menace. But yeah, in theory, it's kind of similar to Steve. He is so strong in theory. And if you guess correctly, you kind of make the game a one-player game. So I'll kind of go on a tangent here. The same is kind of true for Xiaoyu. She still has sidestep AOP. She has an insane damage. For some reason, Namco decided to make her really safe. On the flip side, unlike a character like Lili, who kind of got hit hard by the what's called the feisty rabbit nerfs and stuff like that, Xiaoyu's AOP game and her enhanced version, her her hypnotist stance stuff is still like not nerfed and still incredibly strong. Oh, knockdown -12 that deals like a quarter of your health. Cool. Oh, we still have a spike option with guaranteed damage. Very cool. Oh, you're under effects of heat mode? I guess I'm gonna lose 50% of my health on one little errant mistake. And again, that's not even talking about the ability to evade and sidestep left AOP or sidestep right AOPs and matchup specific options. You'll find actually quite a few of the latest characters, Lidia included, we'll talk about that shortly, are really hurt by these hyper evasive natural option selecting characters. Xiaoyu is one of them, and Xiaoyu is probably going to continue to be a menace for a long time now. And unless they go crazy and like re-nerf 421 and stuff like that, I think Xiaoyu realistically deserves to be in menace tier. She has bad matchups, which probably is what would be the main argument for keeping her down. At the same time, every character below her, I think she deals pretty well against. So it's one of those, hey, she's hunting lower tier, so why is she in lower tier? Okay, maybe she gets held down by high tier. Okay, but for now, I think this is a day 2 change, a day 2 thought. Yeah, I think Xiaoyu should probably be in the menace tier, at least for now. Okay, so my week 2 thoughts really revolve around Shaheen. So Shaheen is a character who was incredibly strong with both the mix-up game, unblockable game, this and that. The whole meta with Shaheen really followed around this, like, okay, I put you into a 50-50, and similar to Xiaoyu or whatnot, it's like, if you guess wrong, I kind of just win. And I get to a point where you're so far behind. And that's why I'm talking about his hop kick range, down forward 2 range, forward 3, forward 4. I mean, he has such a great kind of toolkit to round himself out that it's like, whoa, okay, sure. Now, with that being said, as of week 2 of playing, V105, it was like, okay, you know what? This Sneak 2 nerf, kind of similar to Law's 1+2 nerf, is actually really a big deal. And there are certain situations where Sneak 2, we talked about it in one of the latest match reviews, kind of is okay because, oh, hey, you kind of maintain wall positioning, stuff like that. But in open field, it kind of gets completely reset. And then what happens is Shaheen has to play at like a range 2-ish, 2.5, 3-ish. And what is he going to do for approach? Like up forward 1 and micro steps kind of annihilate him. Now, granted, running 2 did get buffed in V105, if I remember correctly, or V104, where it has okay tracking, but still, like, micro stepping in the fact that he has to get in while risking his life for fairly limited damage off of, like, D-slide, Sneak 2, stuff like that, is a big deal. So I think he can still hang in there. But again, those nerfs appear to turn out more detrimental than I had initially thought. So realistically, that's going to be the case. Okay, this will probably be my more controversial one. But similar to Xiaoyu, I think Asuka probably should be higher than her current placement. You'll notice a pattern here. Any character that does absurd damage and has absurd evasiveness, where they can turn the tide, and essentially one mistake is a really big deal. That's actually one of the things that top tier tend to have that the lower or mid tier don't have. And Asuka has that in spades. Granted, she's significantly less safe now. Sidestep 2 on -13 and stuff like that, but you can't low parry can still. Down back 1 is still a nasty mix-up, all things considered. Yeah, sure, her neutral game kind of got hurt from her, like, really tricky, like, wall stand 1+2 and whatnot, but she still has, like, a huge complement to go with her. And now with the Nanio Agosto buffs now consistently launching and stuff like that, not requiring counter hit, it's like, wow, this character is pretty crazy. If you're good with meter management, you can do a ton of damage and be hyper evasive, and same thing, certain matchups on lower tier behind her, she kind of annihilates them because it's hard for them to approach without just completely getting killed. Kick parry, Sabaki, punch parry, Sabaki launchers. Reversal is still really good. And again, like, look at the lower tier, none of them are airborne mobile characters, right? The only character here really is Lars with up forward 4, and Leroy has a 4-4, but it's so much slower and so poor range compared to Lars, which is really funny because, like, Lars is really poor. I think for that reason alone, yeah, I mean, again, 2 mistakes is all it takes for you to instantly win, whereas a different character might require 3 mistakes or more. Yeah, for the most part, Asuka is a 2-touch character while being hyper-evasive, and like I said, shits out damage. Any character like that is okay by me. So, I had really shit on Kuma, and I understand Kuma's very strong. Kuma's one of the first characters I leveled up to gold, so I understand how strong he is, but I also understand how not strong he is. With that being said, putting Kuma in Panda's tier is crazy, and I didn't really realize what I did. Maybe I mentioned it, but yeah, Kuma definitely should not be with Panda. Panda, by far, is probably the worst character in the game. I know certain characters people put Devil Jin, and I agree Devil Jin's very bad, but Panda is still worse than basically like everyone in the game. And then, yeah, you know what? Kuma, he has a lot of tools. He has the I-13 Heat Smash that tends to full track. He has Bear Electric for +5. He has the Crushing. He has this damage potential, this, that. That, yeah, not only should he not be in bottom tier, he probably should be in like low mid tier. So I think his damage potential, his reach are really, really strong. The problem is against a good player, Kuma starts to fall apart, and especially in other certain matchups, like Alisa, Dragunov, Nina, characters who can like walk circles around him and max punish him, keep him down. Again, this is the high tiers versus the low tiers, and the high tiers are really, really good in this game. So of course that's going to be a thing. So I think Kuma deserves to be up to higher. He probably is better than Bear, or at least more consistent. Yeah, I think up 2 is pretty good. So Claudio, kind of similar to Shaheen, kind of similar to Steve, is in a weird spot where, in theory, the simplicity of Claudio is what makes him really strong, but at the same time, that might be to his detriment. So the nice thing is in Tekken 8, where a lot of the game, especially at high level, does, again, revolve around two-touch situations, a character like Claudio is great. Insane damage potential, for the most part, pretty good carry, all things considered. And then once he gets you to the wall, absurd damage, and decently good Oki. Not the best, but pretty freaking good Oki. If back one was a little bit stronger, like T7 style, okay, then yeah, he probably might have the most like abusive at the wall game. But beyond that, like there are a few things that do take some inherent risk with him, and you have to be on the ball. And he also has some weird combo issues and axi issues that realistically keep him out of a top 5 situation where, you know, for the most part, these characters are fairly decently simple in their strategy, with probably Nina being the most advanced of these 5. So I'm going to go ahead and demote Claudio. I still think he's in top 5 contention. We need to see more tournament results because, unfortunately, the one that immediately comes to mind, Molgold, hasn't been sticking in there. But I think Molgold is still in the kind of exploration phase of this game, and we're going to see a Molgold renaissance, kind of similar to Ulsan. I imagine we'll start seeing Ulsan and Molgold start pulling ahead again once they get a little bit more comfortable, maybe find their character and whatnot. So now that we have a vacuum, and as I talked about, okay, top 10 might be 12, 13 characters, we have a power vacuum. And I mean, how can you not put Feng, right? Feng is insanely strong, very simple battle strategy. He has really good mind games. Now, granted, they did nerf his Heat 3+4, which was a super necessary nerf. I can't believe it took this long to nerf it, but thank God they finally nerfed it, because yeah, it was a little too strong for considering how like strong the rest of his kit is. Now, the thing that still makes me mad about Feng is that he is so safe, and it's like, I don't know why he's so safe still. Things like down back 3 on -15 really only rewards, you know, Asian, Japanese, Korean connections, stuff like this, where you can max punish consistently, but add in variability, like things like Lee down 3 and Fang down back 3 should not be -15. They should be at least -16 consistently, so that you can't space it out to be perfect. People might say, oh, well, the spacing is part of the skill. Fuck you. I don't give a shit. Fuck you. Like, seriously. Consider that. Like, Feng doesn't need to be safer. Like, it's funny because, like, someone at Namco understood this. They made back 1 -10, which, again, same situation. Sudden strike attack, hard to really like, the max punish with a, you know, American or EU connection. Okay, difficult. -12. Hey, look at that. We can all punish back 1 now. Which is funny because obviously they gave him Heat Mode back 1, which is a big deal, right? But it's like, why haven't they done that to the rest of his kit? Like in CNT, CD4 was launch punishable. And then in CBT, the next beta, it wasn't launch punishable. Like, why is he so safe? I don't understand why he's so safe. He still does good damage. He still has easily one of the best heat smashes in the game. Because if you don't know, Fang, Jin, I probably talked about this in the other video. Leo, probably another character I'm missing right away, all have launching heat smashes. Yoshi's and Lili's, if under certain conditions, they cause wall splat. But it's like, why? Why does he need? He has easily one of the best heat engagers, heat dash cancels in the game with shoulder, because under the effects of heat dash, things tend to have better tracking. You can't parry it, or you know, you can't reverse it, rather. Stuff like this. and then you cancel I-13, and it does really, really good damage. So super simple game plan, super simple to execute, and he's absurdly safe for the most part. So I don't know how like Feng continuously slips through the cracks of being like this really silly character, and it just like boggles my mind for the most part. Like I really, really don't understand. Okay. One correction. I did say Victor was, tied with like the worst in the game. He probably still is one of the worst in the game, but I think he deserves to be one tier higher. A lot of people still say he's incredibly strong. A lot of people don't know how to properly counter him, is my rebut to that answer. Yeah, linear problems, unsafe problems. Okay, cool. He has a 20 frame down back 4. Lars has a 21 frame down back 4 that still counter launches on counter hit if you trade. Like little things like that, the fact that he still needs attack throws to initiate is like a huge detriment to his game. Now, with that being said, yes, he has probably one of the best counter hit launchers in the game now with 1+2 on I-15. But still, it's still fairly linear. His up forward 2 has a lot to be desired. His back 4 is so insanely undertuned. Like I'm still making that homing tier list video. Easily the worst homing move in the game. I don't know what Namco was thinking with back 4. I can't even fathom how bad back 4 is relative to like every other character in the game. I haven't done the tier list yet, but I can't see any other homing move being worse than Victor back 4. Victor back 4 is so absurdly bad, requiring counter hit for anything, no range, and it's a slow high, and like I said, doesn't do anything on natural hit. Cool, now you lost your running 2 game, so how do you supplement this back 4, which is the same thing, out of an option like, what's called Perfumer 4? Like, has anyone ever hit a Perfumer 4 in their life? Unless you're under some weird tech roll situation where they're mashing on wake up at -50. I don't know, man. I can't see it being really a thing. And might I also add, again, any character that has really good natural evasiveness, Steve, Yoshi, just eats Victor alive. The fact you can option select him and Lidia, we're getting to it, is so crazy, dude. Like, you just option select nonstop, and as Victor, you're like, man, I can't use my +5, so I have to go +2. But now I can't do anything at +2 because he's too far away to effectively use my frames. So now I need to constantly hope my opponent makes mistakes. Or I use a low option like down 3 or down 4 that are not just punishable or launch punishable to certain characters, but is also no frames on hit. So it's like, cool, I guess I'm gonna break your defense with lows that you might launch that give no frame advantage. And it's like, and are linear. It's like, god dang it, dude. Like, playing Victor is so absurdly not fun to do relative like any character in the game. I would rather play Leroy any day of the week over Victor, and to put him on the same tier honestly hurts my soul. and Leroy is not good in this game. Absolutely not good. So, okay, where are we at? We did Shaheen, Asuka, Kuma, Claudio, Feng, and Victor. Okay. This hurts me because I still think Lee has the potential to be like a very strong character. But yeah, I think we haven't seen the tournament results for Lee to really match how strong I think he is. He plays Tekken 8 really well. The V105 buffs where his heat burst are more consistent on options like wall stand 2-3, stuff like that. Very nice quality of life buffs to him. And the fact that he has, down 3 on 15, counter launcher, confirmed, blah, 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 blah. While at the same time, it's still decently hard to max punish unless you're on a great connection or you've read it like 10 minutes ago. Like, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. But again, like I said, we're missing the tournament results where I can be like, it's harder to keep Lee in a top 10 if we still haven't seen Lee really, really make a stand. With that being said, I gotta give credit where credit's due. Like, Super Kuma almost beating Arslan Ash with Lee. Like, if he did it, if he pushed into top 8, I would have been like, yeah, cool, you, like, vindicate me here. Like, why, how strong I feel Lee is. But, yeah, you just couldn't pull through, unfortunately. I don't know if it's an issue of, like, executional consistency with a bunch of just frames. Maybe it's the slide nerf. Now, the fact that he doesn't even get a slide into a steel pedal that doesn't even steel pedal anymore, it's just a slide, and he's, like, +5. I don't know which one is, like, the big detriment to him, but clearly there is something there. So yeah, I want to see it. I want to see Lee get good results in the same boat. I'm not going to move Raven up, but I'm going to go ahead and put him on the Phantom tier here. Raven, maybe that's the problem. Maybe the problem is a character like Raven, maybe a character like Lee, require too much perfection to play. Raven being a character where you have to consistently know what stance you're in and situational awareness, stuff like that. Maybe it's just impossible for a Lee player or Raven to play at their actual potential. Like, I can definitely see that being a thing, and maybe that's what's going on here. I really want to see both of them really succeed. But yeah, again, I need to see tournament results to put them up there. And might I just say here, again, what I'm saying, no bearing from any tournament after I made this video. This is I've made like all these changes already in my mind. So this is even post Evo World. It's like, yeah, okay. It's like, yeah, okay. That's kind of about it. I want to see Lee do good. I want to see Raven do well, but I need to see them stick out in a tournament. And to be honest, whenever I'm playing online, I'm not really afraid of Raven. Maybe it's because I have so much Raven experience. I don't really know. But yeah, in theory, Raven could be really, really strong, especially with his situational stuff. But again, maybe a human can't actually play Raven to the necessary level. I don't know. I want to be proven wrong. Please prove me wrong, especially now that you have that like nasty ass Battle Pass artwork. It's like, oh crap. Like, what a change, what a change. Okay, okay, so yeah, that's it for my changes. Let's see. Jin is crazy good, Nina's crazy good, Alisa's crazy good, Dragunov's crazy good, Feng is pretty crazy good, he's right close to them. Also, these aren't ordered, by the way. Dragunov would probably be here or here. I don't know which one. First or second, one of the two. Yeah, I know some people shit on Reina. Reina, I think, still at the absolute peak. It is probably top 10 material. I'll give her more benefit of the doubt over a character like Lee and Raven, simply because she has more tournament results. But still, the good news is she's so tricky that she can persevere, and as the game goes on, we're going to find more and more things out with her. Paul, you might be able to argue top 10. Steve, like I said, maybe argue top 10. Bryan, Eddy, I noticed some people putting Eddy lower. Listen to my explanation about Eddy. I think Eddy's still very strong. And actually, I've been playing some Eddy on stream, and I'm beating God ranks with him. So it's clearly Eddy's kind of fallen through the cracks in people's understanding of how the character works. I don't know. Xiaoyu probably should be a menace, and yeah, I think this is good. Yeah, I think it's all pretty good. Yeah, okay, so now that everything is set, Lidia. So I have a decent amount of Lidia experience. I played against a lot of Lidias. My Lidia's not super high. I have her at whatever Yakuza rank is currently. We'll have her up to TK probably by next stream. But yeah, Lidia has a lot of problems. The main issue is that now in Tekken 8, you're kind of forced to go into stances constantly with her. And that's a little bit of a departure from her previous iteration. So, for instance, correct me if I'm wrong, in Tekken 7, she could do like 4-4-2 and she'd be left at like a +2 or -2 situation. Now she's +5, but she's stuck in stance on block. So it's like, okay, now the opponent has to guess. Do they duck? Think you're gonna go for horse 3? Are they going to challenge you and then you go horse 1? This, you know, so on, and this and this and this. Okay, are they gonna mash out? Then horse 2, then gets me to heaven and earth. Okay, cool. You have like this 33%er of like you correctly guessing, but the flip side of the coin is your opponent guesses correctly, and you can never execute on that +5, and you get launch punished for the mistake. Oh, hey, you're going horse 1, one jab into duck, or just raw duck. Oh, you're going for horse 2, okay, sidestep right, and we talked about how these characters can naturally mitigate her pressure lines. Sidestep right, you know, side weave, right weave, duck options, blah blah blah. Horse 3, you know, same thing. And then the big daddy one, which people love to talk about, horse 1+2, which is a great move. It's a instant high crush counter hit launcher. It's also launch punishable. So what are you really beating? Like, if you play against Lidia and she does 4-4-2 and you one check her, the only thing you have to worry about is horse 1+2. You don't get counter launched. Lydia's left negative, and if you guess correctly, you can either hop kick her because she doesn't have enough frames to beat hop kick, or you duck it and you launch her at -18. Okay, so let's say you get a 10-frame Punisher, 1-2-2, which I believe is +7. Okay, similar situation. We have, now a cat stance option. So we have cat 3, which is a high power, high heat engager. We have cat 1, which is a safe option, maybe is Cat 1 the one that enters the horse? I don't know. So slow option would be Cat 1, Cat 3 is a fast one, and then Cat 2 would be us going for like a safe mid. But the same thing, power crushes eat her alive, single challenge eat her alive, and then most importantly, her frame data is inconsistent. So oftentimes what will happen is the opponent in a Cat Force situation, like for instance off 1-2-2, will then just go for a power crush, and if you don't guess power crush, you just lose. And if you do guess power crush, okay, you get a heat engager. Now the benefit for Lidia in this situation is, okay, your Cat 3 is a heat engager, and if you already have heat mode activated, okay, now your Cat 3 is a launcher. The problem is a lot of people don't mash out, and you don't really know when the timing is, and the fact that unlike her horse stance, which has like a 3-way mix-up built into it, your Cat stance is a 2-way mix-up essentially. And then you kind of get into trouble. And not only that, you get into your own head, where you're like trying to constantly guess what the opponent's going to do. Now, the nice thing with Lidia is she can essentially cancel her stances, but there's 2 major warnings. The first is like your +5 off 4-4-2, then becomes, I don't know, like -2 or something like that. So you're attacking slower than your opponent is. And the second thing is kind of similar to Victor, where if you double tap the input too quickly, you get an unintended result. If you go into stance and you double back dash, like tried in the guard, and they rage art, which again is a power crush, it beats like all these options, you just get hit. And it's really cool that you just instantly die because you accidentally hit back 1 too many times. A little bit silly. She has very bad low games. Her down back 3, of course, is her strongest low, which is also launch punishable. But like down 2 at -4 is crazy. Down back 4 at +0 with non-ground hitting is crazy. A lot of things are ridiculous. Actually, one of her best lows might actually be down 3-1. Sorry, might be one of her best lows because you can at least counter confirm it into a wall splat. Okay, but like, man, Lidia. For now, I'm really thinking upper viable. I think she can hold in there. Also, she might be a development character. Maybe as time goes on, Namco will buff her. And unfortunately, she's like really close to being really, really strong. So don't over buff her. Because the main issue with Lidia on defense, like I'm sure everyone complains about, is the Heaven and Earth stance. The ability to parry, cancel, force 50-50, and under the effects of Heaven Earth 1 or 2 or 3, whatever her special stance is called, she doesn't really have a technical term for it. Anytime she's in 2 or 3, all of a sudden her Heaven Earth 2 is an I-13 +16 massive wall splat. So what you'll find is, in order to mitigate the strength of Heaven and Earth, because again, it costs her whole meter unless she has 1 or 2 charges already, you have to just punch parry her. You never, ever, ever want to duck because she has a death fist that will launch you from like half screen away. That's the only thing that's scary about her. So what happens is 95% of her game is doo-doo, and 5% of her game is really, really strong. And people tend to focus on the really, really strong thing, but it's not really, really strong in the grand scheme of things. Okay, you guys will get better against her, but like she is a shell of her former self. And while she got some really cool mechanics, just frames on like every single move of hers where she does more damage, she is still lacking some major things, like especially because you can sidestep 4-4-2, especially because down 4-2 is worse in this game, has less tracking, has less range, stuff like that. It's crazy. And one final point of Lidia, because I did the breakdown, but I never made like a video about her other than that. It's the fact that her strongest options are her heat dash cancels. But because Heaven and Earth is so strong, you never see her heat dash cancels because it's better to use Heaven and Earth. So it's kind of weird. It's like she has this really, really strong mechanic, because it's so strong, she can't use her Tekken 8 mechanic. I'm sure you guys have encountered that, like I just said. Horse 2, heat dash cancelable counter hit launcher. Cat 3, heat dash cancel counter hit launcher. But again, you're never going to have heat because you want to use Heaven and Earth and like gain access to her really oppressive stance. And in certain matchups without punch parries, you can't deal with her Heaven and Earth, and characters have punch parry. Okay, what they do is they punch parry, and you do Heaven and Earth 1, which they can't parry, but now you knock them down. You do okay damage, but you knock them down, and that's it. Like it's a -0 situation, and it's like, man. Again, Lidia players will probably know what I'm talking about, but yeah, she's for the most part a shell of her former self. And that's crazy to think about, because like I'm talking like a post season 4 nerfed Lidia, like not even like her strength, like her max strength versions, No, her post-nerf Season 4, Season 5 variations are just... She's worse than that. That's crazy to say out loud. It's so crazy. So, okay, I think that's about it. I am a little bit happier that we have more of like a bell curve distribution now. I think for the most part this is pretty accurate. If you want to argue with me, please do so. And leave your comment down below. Tell me I'm an idiot or whatever, I don't care. Beyond that, we will cover EWC that I believe will take place. I don't think it's this weekend, unless it is this weekend. But I know there's a tournament being held in Europe, if I remember correctly, that I'll cover. Is it the cross-up? The mix-up? Cross-up, mix-up? One of them? I can't remember. We'll cover that. If there's anything I missed, please let me know. Same thing to something I might have missed. And then I'll go ahead and do the post for the next match review probably this weekend as well. So if you want to have me take a look at your matches, please do so. Okay, that'll be it for me. I will see you guys in the next video. Later on.